Um, I think we've already touched on this a little bit, but the one size fits all approach. Why don't we address that? Because I think even, we get parents say, well, my child's on the spectrum, and this other parent said that this curriculum helps their child on the spectrum. That doesn't even work.
Right.
And why doesn't it? And why should parents, or what should they do? Now they're thinking, I'm at a total loss now. What questions do I ask?
Yeah. It's the hardest question in the world to answer in a way. And yet, if you put yourself in a mindset of thinking about clothes shopping, it can be the greatest fashion statement, and yet it's not going to be a good fit for your kid, or it may not look right, or it may not be the right size, even though it says size 12 and you bought it at a Kmart. It may not fit if you bought it at a fancy Macy's or someplace.
Right.
So even though it says it's the right size, it's important, again, to ask yourself, is it working for my child? And if it's not, you can either make those accommodations like I suggested, because I think you have to be willing to be flexible. So one size really almost never fits all. Even in the public school, we're finding that's the key weak link in the whole public school system. They don't all pace at the same level. They don't all pace at the same amount of content, and it's a system guaranteed to fail.
Right. I had a mom ask me yesterday. She's like, well, my goal is to get through this curriculum in 1 year. And she's like, but I don't think we can make it in 1 year. And I said, well, then what about 2? And she looked at me like, are you kidding me? I have to make it last 2 years. I'm like, if that's the pace your child is going, yes, because otherwise you make gaps. You're going to have huge gaps that then your child's going to be even struggling more.
Yeah. And my goal would be to find something where you can teach to mastery. Even if it's a limited amount of content you cover, you want to teach to mastery, because that's the only way you have those strong foundations to build on.
Right.
So if it's going to take, and at some point, it may be wise to just say, is this a hill I'm willing to die for? I have a lot of moms who say, my child can't learn the times facts. He's 11 years old and he still hasn't gotten the times facts.
Right.
That doesn't mean that he can't learn other math concepts, and it's time to talk about a calculator, because that child as an adult is going to need that as a life skill. So which hills are you willing to die for in order to make that one size fit everybody? And the answer is that's a call you have to make as a parent.
So true. And I like what you say about that, because I did an interview a while ago with some math curriculum developers, and they said, yes, math, we tend to lump it all into math is math, like functions, but it's not. We have different forms of math. And yes, the memorization part is sometimes really hard for kids. And if you can give them the accommodation of just a multiplication sheet, they're going to still be learning, looking at that sheet. And maybe they're a child that just intakes information, visually. They'll actually learn their times tables while using that accommodation.
That's right. And that's often the thing that we tend to overlook. I'm a